Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Mac Story.
All right, everyone, on today's episode of the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast, I'm continuing the series on managing people versus leading people, where I'm diving into the mindset of a manager and the mindset of a leader. All of us would rather work with and report to a leader of people instead of a manager of people. They have two totally different outlooks on their role as a leader. And again, I'm using the manager versus leader description to describe the mindset. So today we're going to talk about conflict. We're on part 9 of this 17-part series. So when it comes to conflict, managers of people, those with a management mindset, they avoid conflict and they allow conflict to weaken relationships and hope the conflict will be resolved without intervention. Managers of people believe all conflict is bad, and they allow conflict to get out of control as a result because they don't intervene. They don't know how to intervene. That's why they see it as a bad thing. So leaders, again, totally different mindset. Leaders, because they lead themselves well, grow and develop themselves, they have all types of options when it comes to conflict. So they use conflict to build relationships because they have the type character. They can intervene into the conflict and work with a team, synergize with whoever the conflict is between, and quickly resolve the conflict and mentor others to mitigate the future conflict, to minimize the conflict itself, and sometimes to even prevent it from happening. And leaders of people believe constructive conflict can be good. And the reason they see it that way is because they have the character to deal with it. Someone with a manager mindset gets involved with conflict, it gets worse because now there's more conflict because the manager brings conflict from within. They become part of it. They become part of the problem instead of part of the solution. So when problems in the family or the organization arise, high-impact leaders of people quickly pull everyone together and resolve the issue in a positive manner, which intentionally facilitates growth because they're going to be talking about leadership principles and teaching them why they're resolving the conflict. Low-impact leaders will be less effective when they attempt to lead others through the conflict because they have not done the required self-development work in advance. So they don't have any answers. They get angry like everybody else and frustrated, and they don't know leadership principles because they haven't never read them, studied them, applied them, lived them relentlessly day after day on purpose so that they can actually be a leader of people. If a leader can't help others resolve conflict, they need to take a look in the mirror and ask, what do I not know or not do that I need to know or do in order to fully support those needing my leadership during conflict? That's what high-impact leaders of people do. They look in the mirror and say, I'm the leader. I'm responsible for helping resolve this conflict or helping prevent conflict in the first place. So humility is the key. Leadership equals responsibility. So I'm hoping you're beginning to see the difference in the manager mindset versus the leader mindset when it comes to those in positions of formal authority. In my book, Blue Collar Leadership, Leading from the Front Lines, that book helps people lead themselves well. So leaders of people, especially, I'm talking to the blue collar industry and the blue collar workforce, those who lead them, those who support them. That's why they purchase my books, and they grow and use them to grow and develop their team. Just recently, I was with a blue collar organization in their training department, the director of training and development. They've bought hundreds of my blue collar books, and they've got 4 people certified to go teach this content. And as they do, they're going to minimize, reduce, and even eliminate conflict, because blue collar leadership helps the frontline entry-level person and anyone else who reads and applies what's in it, whether they have a position of authority or not. It's going to help them lead themselves well. And they're going to lead themselves in a way that they don't want conflict. They're going to be able to, as a frontline entry-level person, they'll be able to avoid conflict, reduce conflict, or eliminate conflict because of who they become on the inside. And then the book for the leaders, the formal authority leaders, is Blue Collar Leadership and Supervision. And that book is helping you learn how to lead others well. And as a leader, if you're growing and developing your team using blue collar leadership, and you're growing and developing yourself, leading blue collar leadership, using blue collar leadership and blue collar leadership and supervision, the leader needs to know what's in both books without a doubt. The team needs to know definitely what's in the blue collar leadership book. So that's what high impact leaders do. They think in long term. Remember, we've talked about a lot of these traits. That's how they come together. And the leader of people, they don't just have to go get into conflict when it happens to deal with it. They're dealing with it proactively. They're beginning with the end in mind before there ever is conflict, and they're growing and developing their team in a way and wrapping the character of their team and themselves around character-based principles that cause little or no conflict when they're applied. So they don't have to go get into conflict. They will and they can, but they're doing things to prevent the conflict in the first place. That's really high impact leadership. That's why they're the people who are developing their team. So hope you got a few more nuggets out of today. And we'll be moving on to part 10 next time. And we're going to talk about the concern of a manager or a leader. So I'll talk to you next time. Have a great day.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.